Yo, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Payoff Pitch, presented by Fantasy Phenom. I'm Kyle. That is Mike. He's back here to break down tomorrow's 8-game slate, do a little recap of Sunday's action, get you guys kind of some initial thoughts on some pitchers for tomorrow.
That's right. That's what we do. It's glad to be back. Good to be back. Feeling good, man. I do just want to give a thanks to everyone in the community and a little bit of apology for not being here. You know, dealing with some bit of a personal matter, but, you know, things happen and, you know, life goes on. And DFS, however, stays the course, you know, crushing every day. Trying to do my best to put lineups out there, but, you know, I wasn't able to really research as much as I would have liked to. So, but yeah, I appreciate you guys rocking with the Phenom, rolling with Kyle and everybody in the community, giving up some nice words with everything that's going on.
Facts. Talking about today, man. So we talked about in the lock show. I said I was fading Pineda 100%. Chalk Pineda is always bad Pineda, and I knew he would be chalk because he was the highest priced guy. He had the most, I guess, upside with the Ks. And I stacked Rangers, and it worked out beautifully. That was my highest score on the slate, was a 4-man stack of Rangers with a 4-man stack of Brewers. Vegas put me on the Brewers last minute. They got a ton of action, so good day on the main. The late slate, I didn't cash. I didn't play Dodgers. I tried to be contrarian. I played Rockies. And it started out really well when the Rockies got out to a 4-0 lead. And then when the Dodgers just piled on, especially Cody Bellinger, who was mad chalk, that sealed my fate.
Yeah, I might as well just have to play Mr. Bellinger at this point. I mean, God, especially on a day like today when, at least on DraftKings, when there's no high-priced pitcher option, they kind of inflated the bats price today. So it was one of those days where you knew people were going to be able to pay up for him. And yeah, if you didn't have him, you got left behind pretty bad. So
we played. So some of the guys we talked about in the lock show today were Mike Montgomery. Went out and had 40 FanDuel points. That was beautiful. Settled down after his rough first inning. I avoided Irvin Santana. That was a mistake. He ended up being the highest scoring pitcher on that main slate. Nick Martinez, I actually pitched him. Shout out to Chris for that nugget of information. He pitched college ball in the Bronx. Bought into that little narrative. Played him in the Express slate. Cashed in that line. Who else? There was one other guy I was on. Doug Fister. Doug Fister got cut by the Angels. And then went back and pitched against him. He hit value, man. I believe he had 33 FanDuel points. I can't ask for much more at 5'9".
Yeah, I guess I chose their young guys over Doug Fister, which I can't really blame them. I forget who I pitched. I pitched Montgomery and some. Again, I didn't spend too much time. Again, on Sundays too, I don't really do much. I had to work as well. But yeah, Montgomery went out, had a nice game. I think if we look at top 5 here, pitchers wise, it was Santana, Sonny Gray, Rafael Montero, who had a nice spot start.
That was, yep.
For the Mets. And then they had Hellickson, and then Montgomery. We were top 5.
Hellickson was unexpected.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's going to have these games, I guess. But in Arizona, I don't think anybody was on him. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
So, hey, it was a good day, though. Can't complain. Followed up a good Saturday with a decent Sunday. Didn't take down any GPPs when he could win any big money. But as long as you don't lose money, it's a good thing. I did make a bet on the Rangers today. Plus 200 underdogs. That was money.
Yeah, Pineda is in a little bit of a rut.
Dude, his last
sucks too because the Yankees finally put some runs on the board and nothing to show for it.
Yeah, they were chalk too. So that Gary Sanchez home run hurt. I was sitting really nice. I was in the top 200 of a GPP with a Rangers stack before that home run.
But yeah, man, it's good to be back. I'm excited to start playing some DFS, getting full into the grind again. It's tough, you know. It's tough to play DFS if you're not going to commit to the full process, you know.
Mm-hmm.
You really got to stop yourself and be like, this is probably not smart, because people are smart out there, man. It's not like what it used to be a couple of years ago. Everyone out there knows what they're doing. They've got their strategies down, and it's competitive.
Yes, sir. So we got a 2-game early and a 6-game main. Philadelphia, Arizona, finishing up their 4-game series, and then every other team is starting a new series since he's traveling to St. Louis. Looking at this Philadelphia-Arizona game, Zach Greinke has been great this year, but Philadelphia has been pesky of late. Doesn't make our top 5 to pitch right now. Actually, no, I lied. No, he does make our top 5.
Yeah, just because it's this early slate.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I think you're going to have Greinke against Philadelphia. It is worrisome. I think if we were looking at it all day, I don't know how much I'd be on it. I think he's given up the majority. I think 9 of his home runs have come at home. Make sure that's correct. But
yeah, he has definitely. It's weird. He's given up a lower average and a lower WOBA, more Ks at home, but higher hard contact, more fly balls, and more home runs. So, kind of more all or nothing at home.
Yeah, 9 of his 14 home runs. So, yeah, I think it definitely has a product of the ballpark. Balls get up in the air. In Arizona, it's only going to get worse and worse as it becomes more and more humid out there. Philadelphia, like you said, is a pesky team. But they're young. They're not disciplined at the plate. I think Greinke's got a good shot at doing what he needs to do. He's actually has the highest K percentage this season than any season in his career.
Mm-hmm.
So
had a nice bounce
he's feeling it right now. He is, man. And you look at the box score in that Colorado game, doesn't tell the full story, man. He was on the course to go the distance in Coors, man. And then that fly ball that turned into a triple off Arenado really unraveled it.
The thing that I really like looking at is Philadelphia's high K rate against righties this year. Not only are they worse on the road, they're worse versus righties power-wise. They hold only a 138 ISO versus righties on the season, with almost a 24% K rate, and their home run per fly ball is only 10%. So we talk about Greinke having a home run problem. The fact that Philadelphia struggles to hit home runs versus righties is more of a reassuring factor in playing Greinke tomorrow. And then
I agree.
And then with Nick Pivetta, man, this dude has been lights out his last 3 starts. Actually just went down and shut down Arizona in Philadelphia. He does have a little worse splits on the road, only a 19% K rate compared to an overall season K rate of 25%. But over his last 3 starts, dude has a 191 average against him, 30% strikeout rate.
Yeah, he's got like a K per 9 almost 10 in his first. Now I think this will be his 9th big league start.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he's warming up too. I mean, he's getting used to the grind. Not that he wasn't a major league or a professional before, but still getting used to the major league grind. Getting over the speed bumps. I think definitely someone to watch. I don't know that he's someone you want to pitch. Maybe if you wanted to try and stack this game on the early slate on DraftKings. I mean, not really something I tend to want to do, especially in Arizona. But you saw today was a 2-1 game. Unlikely to happen again, I don't think. But yeah, it's definitely a guy to watch going forward and see if this strikeout stuff continues.
Looking at Cincy St. Louis, Brandon Finnegan is back. Dude was pitching lights out to begin the year before he had that shoulder injury. He made 3 starts before he got injured. He made 3 rehab starts, pitched 12 innings, walked only 3 guys in 12 innings, which is really, really good to see because Brandon Finnegan has had a walk problem in his career. The one thing that is concerning is that he only had 10 strikeouts in those 12 innings, and for a major league pitcher playing minor league teams, a guy that notoriously has a high strikeout rate, that is a little alarming, but I'm not concerned yet. I think for his price on DraftKings at $5,800, I think he's got to be your SP2 option, especially against St. Louis, who struggles versus lefties in the power department, we talk about Philadelphia holding a 10% home run per fly ball rate. Versus righties, St. Louis has a 8% home run per fly ball rate versus lefties. Brandon Finnegan was pitching to an elite ground ball level.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just gotta have to roll with the chalk here. I think that's going to be the chalk SP2. I think had those 3 rehab starts. Obviously, they didn't rush him back. He performed very well. The strikeout stuff isn't. I mean, he hasn't had terrible strikeout stuff. Over his last season, he had 31 starts in the big leagues last year. Had a K per nine of 7.5.
No, he's always.
But he's a sinker baller.
He's actually. That's what makes him, I think, such an intriguing play, right, going forward. I'm talking major leaguer, not fantasy wise. I love the fact that we talk about the combination of ground ball and strikeout. He's always been successful at striking guys out. And the fact that he can keep the ball on the ground, if he can continue with that combination, I think he's going to be a very nice pitcher for the Reds. And they're slowly starting to piece this rotation back together. Luis Bonillo, I believe his name is, they're one of their top prospects, and Homer Bailey are now with the rotation. So they're getting some guys back.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying he doesn't have strikeout stuff. It's just yet to be seen. I mean, he's had 1 full season in the majors, and he's got a K percentage that's unrealistic compared to any of his starts in the minors, any of his years in the minors. He's a sinker baller. None of his pitches top out over 90 miles an hour. So he pitches to contact, pitches to ground balls. I think at his price right now, it's definitely worth a dice roll, even if you're playing all day, I think.
I love Brandon Finnegan. I love him as a prospect. I picked him up in my season-long league last year, rode with him. I've always liked this guy's stuff. So I do think he has strikeout potential. And I think I do agree, 31% strikeout rate is probably not where he's going to finish the year. But I could definitely see him in the 20 to 25 range by year's end.
Yeah, definitely, man.
And then for a guy to attack on the early, I think Michael Wacha is going to be that guy. Cincinnati has been swinging a hot bat. Their home numbers are creeping closer to the average, which is a good thing. Michael Wacha has been okay. I think he's probably the worst pitcher on this slate, and that's a testament to how good the pitchers are on this slate. So you might see a low-scoring game tomorrow, but Scooter Gennett stays hot. Dude's got an unreal power surge. Scott Schebler, always a home run or nothing guy. Tucker Barnhart has been actually swinging the bat really well over the last 14 days as well. Someone to look out for. Really, really cheap on both sides.
Yeah, I definitely would like to go after Wacha on this early slate. Is definitely, I think, the worst pitcher. Just stays putting people on base. If you look at over the last, if you look at over the last 6 starts, he's combined for over, I think, close to 10 base runners in each one of those starts. So he's definitely in a rut. A pitcher that everybody kind of had high hopes on in St. Louis, with Wainwright kind of on the tail end of his career, I think. So I still think he's better than what he's shown over the last few starts, but we're talking on this 2-game slate, so I think that's where I'm going as well.
Yeah, his last 3 starts, he's given up an average of 410, so not good.
Not good at all, no.
Moving to the main slate, we have Chicago, Washington leading it off. Gio has been lights out as of late on the year. Last couple seasons, really. But last 3 starts, under a 200 average against him. 28% strikeout rate, only a 241 WOBA against him. A guy that always does a good job of limiting home runs. Again, he still hasn't allowed a home run to lefties. So if he can navigate around, I think, Chris Bryant, Wilson Contreras, Addison Russell, I think Gio is in line for a really nice start tomorrow.
Can't deny it, man. Can't deny what he's been doing. Chicago does hit lefties pretty well, but I mean, Gio, I think, is definitely in line. I think you're going to see him probably get a little sneaky if you look at the prices of with Sale and Barrios, and people probably even look at Carrasco. I think Gio might fall out against Chicago, like every pitcher against Chicago always does, as far as ownership. He has been much better at home, for what it's worth.
Yeah, not even close.
4 out of his 12 home runs have been at home, so hasn't really given up the long ball at home. ERA of like let me see this, 1.66 at home this season, as opposed to a 4.06 on the road. So
I like it. And
I like it as well.
And then as far as attacking, I think we're going to go the reverse here and attack Eddie Butler. Dude he was an intriguing prospect, kind of not panning out right now. Over his last 3 starts, a 3.48 WOBA against him, only 11% strikeout rate. Not really a high strikeout rate on the season overall, but 11% in his last 3 starts. Home run per 9 of 1.2. And then Washington, they've been kind of off and on, but we know what they do. We know what they're capable of. Arguably one of the best offenses in the league.
Yeah, the problem with this guy, I've been watching him pitch, has been the fact that his pitch count gets up so quick. Like, he walks people. It doesn't seem like he's efficient at all. And so he's not been a very good DFS pitcher, I mean. And if he's facing a team that is experienced like the Nationals are, it's generally not going to work out well for an inexperienced pitcher that's still laboring his way through the major leagues, it seems. So, he hasn't really given up many home runs this year. I know that's something I definitely look to target. Pitchers that like to give it the long ball, but
his last 3 starts
still,
from where he's been over the year, though. He's been giving up the long ball more so.
Yeah, I think he's only given up like 6 home runs all year. Or no, 3 home runs all year. So, not really what you want to see, but still, I don't think he's very good. He's proven that. He puts people on base, and definitely a stack-worthy opponent, Yeah.
Now, this is a game me and Mike are a little torn on. So, Minnesota-Boston. We have Chris Sale, who's this is probably one of the cheapest prices you'll see Chris Sale at. He's 11.7 on FanDuel. That's super cheap. And then Jose Barrios is $2K less on DraftKings, not that much less on FanDuel. I personally am on the Barrios train. Mike is on the Sale train.
I mean, you gotta like both these pitchers, right? It's just
if we're picking one,
you're gonna have to pick one tomorrow. It's only a 5 or 6 games main slate, right? So you're gonna have to pick one. I think both these guys have elite put out pitches. Sale slider, Barrios' curveball.
Dude, that curveball is so nasty. Have you seen? Well, I'm sure you have, obviously. I was watching a video. I think it was against Mark Trumbo in his start against the Orioles. The pitch started at Trumbo's hip like it was going to hit him, and it curved right back into the middle. It was so beautiful. I could watch Barrios pitch. He's one of my favorite pitchers just to watch from a real-life standpoint.
No, that pitch is nasty, man. I mean, both those pitches are just probably 2 of the nastiest pitches in the majors, I think. So, to me, you're obviously paying up for either of these guys. You're looking for strikeouts. And you're looking to see who's got the better chance to do that. And to me, I feel like Sale has a better chance to get strikeouts tomorrow than Barrios. I mean, Sale consistently puts up double-digit strikeout numbers. You can't say the same thing about Barrios. And then Boston doesn't really tend to strike out very much. So
no, I agree with
you. That's kind of where I'm at with that. And
my take on it is this: for the price difference, I think Barrios is better value.
I mean, what's the price difference on on FanDuel? DraftKings is 2,200.
Yeah, on FanDuel it is Barrios. He is 9.6, Sales 11.7, so 2,100.
Yeah, so about the same. I mean. Yeah, perhaps. It just kind of depends, I think, tomorrow what happens. I mean, I think Barrios is definitely going to be a good pivot off of Sale. If Sale looks to get the ownership, I mean, to me, that makes me want to... If I'm not in love with Sale's matchup, it makes me want to go elsewhere. And I think I'll be completely fine going with Jose Barrios in that sense. But if there's enough value and I feel like people are going to fade Sale, I don't see why I wouldn't just play him.
I'm with you. I I'm on Barrios. Like I said, I think he can hit higher value, and also I think the ownership as well. So that's something I'm going to look for on the 6-game slate.
It's going to be a fun game to watch, though. I'm excited about that.
It will be. I think it'll be a pitcher's duel, which will be funny. Knowing DFS, watch this game go out and be like a 10-9 game.
That's what I'm saying, man. I think whatever comes up tomorrow, whatever people are like, oh, I'm going to play this guy, whoever people are on, I feel like I'm just going to play the other guy. It tends to work out well for me with the high-priced pitching because generally on any given day, the top 4 price guys on the slate can go out and be the top guy. So why play the guys everybody else is on?
So with that said, if Sale gets all the ownership on a 6-game slate, would you consider the top 3 for Minnesota at a drastically reduced price with what they do?
I don't know if I stack Sale. I don't know if I stack Sale against Sale.
Just throwing it out there. Their numbers versus lefties are hard to ignore, and they're at a drastically reduced price.
I would have to look at pitch type, see who hits that pitch well.
I'm with you. Cole Hamels is back tomorrow. Carlos Carrasco is pitching for Cleveland. Rematch of the ALCS.
Yeah.
I like some Cole Hamels tomorrow. I think. Sorry, I don't know why that popped up. Cleveland is mad cold. Over the season, they haven't hit lefties well. They have over the past couple games, but then they just went ice cold versus Minnesota's 2 worst pitchers and then Irvin Santana. Do they flip it around in Cleveland? Or no, they've been in Cleveland. So do they flip it around versus Hamels? I don't know. I haven't heard any news about a pitch count, so that is good to hear. His K rate has been down this year. He's only got an 11% K rate. Don't know how much of that had to do with maybe he was injured before. So I still think Hamels can go out and have a good game. And he's a lower price than you'll get him most of the time.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to be on Hamels tomorrow against Cleveland, coming back, first game back from his injury. Obviously, he seemed to fare well on his rehab assignments from what I'm looking at.
He's only
had a bullpen session.
8,100 on DraftKings.
Yeah, he's firmly in the mid-range. But I think a couple of the fact that he's in Cleveland, his first game back from injury, and the fact that he really just hasn't looked good this season. I really don't think people are going to be on Hamels. I don't know how sold I am on him personally as well. I do like to target Cleveland lefties versus Cleveland over righties, and like you said, they haven't been hot by any means. So the team matchup doesn't scare me currently as Cleveland normally does. I think Texas is the hotter team. So,
what are your thoughts on this? What are your thoughts on this? Barrios Hamels on DK.
I think you're looking at extremely low K upside, man. If you're going there, because Boston rarely strikes out, and neither does Cleveland against lefties. So, if you're looking at a team total, what they've done this season, I think you're targeting 2 teams that strike out very little.
Yeah, but I always give upside to pitch, or I always give benefit of the doubt to pitchers. If say Max Scherzer versus the Giants, who don't strike out. Max Scherzer went up and put 11, 13K, something like that. I still think Barrios, with his stuff, if his curveball is on, I don't care if Boston doesn't strike out. I think that Barrios will still get his.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, you also look at the fact. I don't just couple, what the team does as K percentage wise, but also what the pitcher does. So, yeah, I mean.
It's a pure GPP play, those two together, but I know what Hamels has been able to do strikeout-wise in his career. Like you said, nobody's going to be on him. If he goes out and balls, you're going to be sitting pretty just based off that. So it's
risky. It's risky ownership move for tournaments. I agree. I think like I said, I don't think anybody's going to be on Hamels. I imagine more people are going to be on Sale than Barrios, so yeah, I could see that being a tandem to play in a tournament. But I just feel like the strikeout upside is very limited with that combo.
I can see the risk in it, 100%. And then what about attacking Carrasco? Because that's someone Texas has been mad hot. And Carlos Gomez, Mike Napoli, I hope they play Robinson Chirinos. They really need to get Jonathan Lucroy out of the lineup. Robinson Chirinos is the better player right now.
He hits bombs, man. He certainly hits bombs.
Beltre as well. Mizar should be back tomorrow. He's at 3,200. Andrus down to 29 on FanDuel. Shin-Soo Choo hit another home run today. He has a depressed price on DraftKings. I think Texas is in a good spot tomorrow, especially their lefties versus Carrasco, who has a home run per fly ball rate of 1.7 versus lefties.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been worse at home. I think Carrasco is very hit or miss. One of those guys. I think he reminds me of like who is it? Martinez on the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. They've got great stuff. They can walk a lot of batters, or they could strike out a ton. Carrasco's arguably coming off his best start of the season against Baltimore. So I could see it going either way with him. I definitely think you ride the hot team in Texas, though. I think they bring it to Carrasco early. I like that they don't have a day off here. They're going straight to Cleveland, continue to ride that hot streak.
Streaks are real in baseball, man.
Exactly. So I do like the fact that these Texas bats are at a depressed price, like you said. So I could see myself going there on DraftKings tomorrow, even though Carrasco, does have some elite stuff.
Yeah. So now I know you're not on Hamels as much. You're on Montgomery, so I'll let you talk about Montgomery as your pivot, and they're the same price or close to it.
Almost. Yeah. So 76 for Montgomery, 81 for Hamels, and it's strictly, again, a strikeout thing. So I know what Chicago does versus lefties. Obviously, they have elite power numbers versus lefties.
So can I ask you this real quick? Because you mentioned the strikeout numbers. What if I told you Chicago only strikes out 18% of the time versus lefties, and Cleveland strikes out 17% of the time versus lefties? Who are you giving the edge to, Montgomery or Hamels?
Well, I think you're rounding down for Montgomery, rounding up for Cleveland. I think it's 19%. More like 16 to 19.
19, so
but
it's...
Well, I feel what you're saying. I mean, I still think Cleveland's the tougher opponent.
Okay.
I think Montgomery not only has a little bit better strikeout stuff, I think he has a lot better strikeout stuff.
Okay.
He doesn't just throw fastball changeup. The dude throws all four of his pitches at least 20% of the time. He has two pitches, his slider and his curveball, that have strikeout percentages over 40%. So yeah, I'm gonna ride. If I'm looking at that price range, I'm gonna ride with the guy that I can trust, that I think has a better matchup as far as getting strikeouts. The strikeouts will improve the floor and allow him to absorb, walks, hits, and runs.
Mm-hmm. Has nothing to do with the Yankees, right?
No, not at all, man. It's straight up. It's straight up. A better spot.
I have to give you shit for that, Mike. I know
can't deny.
I know how you Yankee fans are.
Jordan Montgomery's been good, man.
He has been. The one thing that concerns me is his high fly ball rate. Hamels, even though his strikeout numbers may be down, he's still a ground ball pitcher. And Montgomery has given up some home runs in his last three starts. And you mentioned the power numbers for Chicago, so I also think.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Like, I feel like you're looking for like a one run. Cole Hamels can really only give up one or two runs, whereas Montgomery can absorb a couple more.
I agree. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I think, obviously we're looking for the same thing, the better play, but I'm going to be interested to see who does what. I think Chicago's a better hitter's park than Cleveland, so I'll give that advantage to a ground ball pitcher. So that's kind of where my head's at. I see where you're at with the K potential, though.
Yeah.
Colorado, San Francisco. Shark has not been good this year. He's had a ton of strikeouts, but he's had a huge home run problem. I know it is an SF, but Colorado has power to hit it out of anywhere. I still think it might be crazy stacking Colorado in SF, but that could be.
I hope they're cheap.
That could be a contrarian play. They are. Nolan Arenado's 4-1. That's okay. Mark Reynolds is down to 3-7 on DraftKings.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're kind of average. I think some of these, like the bats you'd want to play are, yeah, I guess 3.7's pretty cheap. Yeah, it's cheaper than they've been. So yeah, I definitely think. I mean, Samardzija is, I believe, 0-3 versus Colorado this year.
He's not
yeah, 3 starts. He's 0-3. In those 3 starts, he's given up 19 earned runs.
I believe he actually lost in this exact matchup earlier in the year in San Francisco. It might have been against Senzatella. I'm not 100% sure if it was Marquez or Senzatella, but he didn't pitch well last time in SF versus Colorado. So
he hasn't pitched well versus them all year. I think this is a good spot to go after him, and I will be. I think so.
I'm with you.
As far as right now, I will.
And then, if you want to get super GPP, Giants have remained ass. They're just a bad team. I don't know if... I think they are what they are at this point, and I think they're going to be a team that you can pitch against all year. Do I play Marquez? Great numbers in terms of not giving up home runs, but strikeouts are down in his recent starts. 20% on the season. It's been average. It's very much mid-range, but... if I'm going to pay 7.5 for Marquez, I'd pay 7.6 for Montgomery.
Yeah, honestly, I didn't really look at it, but you make a good point, and I wonder what people are going to do. I think it's becoming a streaming option, especially when San Francisco's at home, to just pitch against them. I'm sure Marquez has played them. No, he actually hasn't had a start against San Francisco this year.
So it was Senzatella then?
Yeah, I mean... he hasn't been terrible. He's not really been a great DFS pitcher because he doesn't really strike many people out. So
compare that with the fact that San Francisco isn't a high strikeout rate team. So that's why I say I think I would say
I imagine more people will be on Montgomery over Marquez, Montgomery, and Hamels. I imagine Montgomery gets the most look.
Fair, rightly so. And then finally, LA, Los Angeles. We're going to attack some Ricky Nolasco with the Dodgers. I might catch some shit for this, especially as a Giants fan. I think the Dodgers are the best team in baseball. It's a pity.
Oh, I totally agree. I think it's far and away the best team in baseball.
It's a pity that Dave Roberts is their manager because they will never win a World Series with Dave Roberts as their manager. Ever. The dude is one of the worst game managers I've ever seen. And it's a pity, man, because this Dodgers, he's wasting the talent that they have. I'm serious.
I know.
I feel so strongly about that. And as a Giants fan, it pains me to say that the Dodgers deserve to win. But this team, if it stays like this, Kenley Jansen is... Mariano Rivera is a poor man's Kenley Jansen.
That's incorrect.
No. I'm going to say it. Kenley Jansen will be the best closer of all time when it's all said and done.
Sure.
I know you don't believe. I know you're not going to ever be able to get on board with that, but his stuff is ridiculous.
It is. It is ridiculous, but it's not as good.
It is. It's better, but
it's false. Wasn't Dave Roberts manager of the year last year? Wasn't he voted manager of the year?
I don't know how, but
is that real?
I think it was.
Pretty sure he was.
Was it last year or 2 years ago? I know he was at some point, but yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it was 2 years ago. Yeah, actually, maybe it was 2 years ago. Yeah, I think everyone's kind of hot at the same time right now in the Dodgers. So you pair that with Ricky Nolasco, who has given up probably more home runs than he has walks this year. Fair to say. Actually, it's probably pretty close. I think I should look that up.
Regardless of the point stands, it's not been good.
23 home runs, 25 walks. So it's pretty close. He has given up a lot of home runs, man. 23 of them.
Cody Bonds
that's a problem.
Is on fire.
Yeah, Cody Bellinger hits home runs, and that's what he does. He hits home runs.
Is he worth 5.5 on DraftKings?
I think this is going to be the chalky stack of the day. I don't see why people wouldn't be stacking against Ricky Nolasco. I stack against him every single time he pitches, and it's been great. I'm going to do it again.
You can get some cheaper guys on LA. Yasiel Puig has been hot, and he's only 3,700 on DraftKings, 26 on FanDuel. Love that. Chris Taylor is 29 on FanDuel, 42 on DraftKings. And paying for those guys when they aren't high priced, and Chase Utley as well. If he plays tomorrow, 3,300 as a second base option, you can get Cody Bellinger comfortably.
Yeah, you can. I think so. I mean, unless you're paying up for both pitchers, unless you're trying to. Actually, there really isn't two pitchers to pay up to. Now I think about it. I mean, if you're unless you're going like Sale, I guess you can't go Sale and Barrios. So yeah, you're gonna be able to have some money to pay. I think Bellinger is obviously the guy because look what happened today. If you didn't pay for him and you had the money to.
That was me. I didn't.
You waved those balls goodbye. Did you know Ricky Nolasco's real name is Enrique?
I did not. Ricky Nolasco looks white as me.
So that's a fun fact. Enrique Nolasco, DFS guy. He'll probably go out and pitch a shutout tomorrow. That's probably what's going to happen.
Twins, Minnesota, Boston game will be the game stack, and Ricky Nolasco pitches a shutout. That's Monday. that's Monday DFS.
Is this his interleague matchup for what it's worth? You know, he gets a pitcher to pitch against, so maybe he gets a bunch of strikeouts tomorrow.
God damn
it. Rich Hill looked good his last time out. Just it seems like they just refused to let him go 6 innings because Dave Roberts. Yay.
That's what I'm telling you, man. I can't stand that guy. He's the most infuriating guy. If it's not Clayton Kershaw, a Dodgers pitcher is GPP every single time because Dave Roberts, he'll get to 85 pitches and get a guy on second, and Dave Roberts will be like, you know what? It's okay. We'll bring in the bullpen.
Yeah. Looking at it, his pitch count has reached 95 in each of his last 4 starts, and he hasn't made it to the 6th inning. So I guess maybe there was some merit in that. I don't know. He has a lot of faith in his bullpen. I mean, why not?
Yeah.
It's been working, and his offense. You know, it doesn't really matter what the starting pitching staff is going to do. Because this offense is firing right now, and they get a Enrique day. It's Enrique day. Yay.
All right, so for what it's worth, the guys we are pitching tomorrow, as of right now, of course, this can all change. We'll have our final picks in the lock show for our River subscribers. But as of right now, Brandon Finnegan, Zach Greinke in the early, and on the main, we have 5 because we disagree. Jose Barrios, Chris Sale. We both agree on Gio Gonzalez. Actually, we both agree on Barrios, but I don't like Chris Sale. Mike does. And then I like Cole Hamels. Mike likes Jordan Montgomery. But we are all on the same page on pitchers to attack, and that is Carlos Carrasco, Eddie Butler, Ricky Nolasco, Jeff Samardzija, and Michael Wacha.
Michael Wacha on that early slate, and I think again, I mean, it's one thing to narrow down the pitchers, but you know, it comes back to what we say, man. You gotta wait till tomorrow. You gotta wait till see what happens with what the projected ownership is going to be, what the lineups are going to be coming out, what the weather's going to look like. You know, the fact that there's a lot of different factors that can come out. You know, between today or between when this show is recording here at 2 a.m. Eastern and tomorrow when the lineup's locked. So, yeah, obviously I like Sale, but if he's going to be super chalk as a tournament player, either I'm going to try and differentiate with my SP2 or go elsewhere. Same thing with Montgomery. He could easily be chalk as well, and with what Chicago does versus lefties, I mean, if that's the case,
maybe stack.
Might be looking elsewhere. So, again, it's just I'm looking at it from a whole, looking at stats, looking at just based on watching the pitching and who's pitching well. So that's where I'm at. And that's why I come to those conclusions.
That's what makes it beautiful. You get both opinions. They're raw. They're real. You get to kind of decide. It's not about who's right and who's wrong. It's just, you know, difference of opinions. Maybe we're both right. Who knows? So
we are always
facts. All right, guys. Well, thank you again for tuning in. Appreciate it. Of course, if you guys would like to subscribe, get all the content, access to the lock shows where we break down the bats, what stacks we're looking at, our final thoughts on pitchers, get access to these sheets, the river group, all the other sports. Shout out to those PGA guys. Held it down again. Some nice winnings came in. I played PGA for the first time, and my GPP, I didn't win it, so I tailed off a little bit, but I did cash, and I'm mad happy about that.
Yeah.
So,
Cash PGA and MMA this weekend. Not NASCAR, but 2 out of 3 I'll take.
there you go. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you again. Have a wonderful night or morning, depending on when you're listening, and we'll be back tomorrow to break down the 6-game main for you.